It's Pete Toll, aka PT Sports 84. Today, the first official ratings update dropped for NBA 2K23. So I just want to go through and review each of the teams, let you know who went up, who went down. There were quite a bit of position changes as well in the update, so I want to highlight those too. So jumping right into it, the 76ers, Joel Embiid goes down one to a 95 overall. Tyrese Maxey goes up one to an 86 overall. Let me change these so that way you guys can see the ratings, because I know some people have commented that they rather see the ratings rather than the grades. So I want to change those real quick. D'Anthony Melton goes plus one to a 78 overall. Matisse Thybulle goes down one to a 76 overall. He also got a position change to shooting guard small forward. Previously, he was small forward shooting guard. Georges Niang goes plus one to a 74 overall. Montrezl Harrell goes minus one to a 75 overall. And then lastly for the team, the last edit was a position change for Julian Champagny. Position change to small forward, power forward from power forward, small forward. Looking at the ratings, I mean, you could have made an argument that James Harden should have went up. I believe he should have been a 90 overall, but maybe, just kind of giving a little bit of leeway to see how he does, I guess, based this season. But, we'll see. The Milwaukee Bucks, changes for them. Brook Lopez goes plus one to an 81 overall. Plus one also for Bobby Portis as well. Position change for George Hill. Point guard, shooting guard from shooting guard, point guard previously. Javon Carter also switches positions to shooting guard, point guard, as he's starting right now. I appreciate that, Philem. Looking at Wes Matthews, also gets a position change to shooting guard, small forward. Previously, he was small forward, shooting guard. Lastly, Marjan Beauchamp, rookie, gets position change to small forward shooting guard. Not a lot of ratings updates, really, for the Milwaukee Bucks. I was surprised. I thought Javon Carter should have went up. I thought that Grayson Allen maybe could get a bump, plus one. Would have liked to have seen Drew Holiday get a bump to plus one as well. So a little surprised that some of those didn't get updated since, they're doing so well out of the gate. But it is what it is. Maybe in the next roster update. Chicago Bulls. Another one I was surprised it didn't get an update. DeMar DeRozan hasn't got an update in this one. So haven't really checked the ratings to see if anything changed, like individual ratings. Haven't had time to do that yet, but we'll get into that if we need to. Ayo Dosunmu goes plus 177 overall. Alex Caruso gets a position change to small forward shooting guard as he kind of plays in that 3-guard lineup. But because 2K doesn't really designate like double shooting guards, they wouldn't move Caruso up to small forward, so they went ahead and moved him to small forward so he'd slide in that 3-guard lineup off the bench. He went actually down one to a 76 overall. Goran Dragić goes plus one to a 75 overall, minus one for Coby White to a 75 overall. And then lastly, a position change for Dalen Terry to small forward shooting guard. The Cleveland Cavaliers, position change for Dylan Windler. Also a position change for Isaiah Mobley. Neither one of their ratings changes are changed. Isaac Okoro goes minus two to a 73 overall. We also see Dean Wade go plus three to a 76 overall. His position was updated to small forward, power forward. We got Caris LeVert plus one to a 79 overall. Kevin Love plus one to an 81 overall. Minus one for Jarrett Allen. And then one of the biggest movers in this roster update, plus three for Donovan Mitchell, 91 overall. He's going to be tough to bump up even more overall just because his ratings are kind of maxed in different categories as far as intangibles and the modifiers that 2K likes to utilize. Looking at the Boston Celtics, um, Jayson Tatum goes +1 to a 94 overall. Jaylen Brown +1 to an 88 overall. Al Horford drops 1 to an 81. Derrick White goes -1 to a 77. Blake Griffin gets a position update to center power forward. No rating change, but if you notice, his dunk gets bumped down to a 75. I did notice that. And his vertical is still an 85, so it's still kind of high there. But the dunking, maybe it was at a 75. I can't remember, but I think it maybe got bumped down a little bit. But we'll see. Once I can double check that. Payton Pritchard goes -1 to a 75. What's up, Dopey Music? 75 overall. Noah Vonleh drops down 71 overall, -3 for him. No other changes for the Celtics. The LA Clippers. This one was interesting because I was curious to see what they were going to do with the kind of roster since they were struggling early. They didn't really hit them very hard. Like John Wall went up 1 to a 79 overall. Norman Powell goes down 2 to a 78 overall. They updated Luke Kennard's position to small forward, which, I understand why they did it. Because essentially if a full healthy roster, he would come off the bench. That allows Powell to be the shooting guard. And then Kennard, the small forward. Miss Stevens. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to be consistent. I haven't had time to do the Around the NBA daily recaps just because of some work stuff happening in the early morning. So it's really kind of thrown me off this week with the consistent updates, for the daily stuff. But Amir Coffey gets an update for his position to power forward, small forward. Terrence Mann, update to position. What's up, Kerry? Shooting guard, small forward. Reggie Jackson drops 3 overall. And it was interesting because Reggie Jackson's been struggling, but there were some other players that on some previous teams that have been kind of struggling as well that didn't really get bumped. So interesting to note there. Luke Kennard, going back to talking about him, he actually dropped a point, which is interesting because he's been playing pretty well. I missed Robert Covington plus 177 overall. For him, he's been playing well off the bench. Position change for Brandon Boston Jr. updated to small forward shooting guard. And that's it for the Clippers. So let's go over to the Memphis Grizzlies. Right off the bat, Ja Morant +1 to a 94 overall. +3 for Desmond Bane, who's been playing like an all-star so far this year. 86 overall for Desmond Bane. Steven Adams drops 2 overall to an 80. No update for Tyus Jones. I thought he'd go up 1 or 2 at least. I thought Brandon Clark would go up as well. No update for him. We do get an update for Santi Aldama, who's been starting at power forward, +4, one of the biggest movers in this update, to a 74 overall. New sneakers added throughout the season aren't retroactively active to already created rosters. Interesting. I wonder if that'll be patched. No clue about how that kind of works. So if you want to create a roster, if you want to wear added sneakers, I guess you're saying you can't. That's interesting that they decided to do that. Maybe that's always been that way. I'm not sure, but definitely contact 2K Support and give feedback on that. It's not a bug, but give feedback that you'd like to see that. There is a feedback tab that you can click and then submit it via 2K Support. The more people that submit a feedback or a bug, etc., the better chance that the devs take a priority in fixing that, or get the engineers to fix that rather. The devs can draw their attention to it. Jake LaRavia and David Roddy swap positions. LaRavia is now the small forward, power forward. Roddy's the power forward, small forward. And that's it for the Memphis Grizzlies. Moving over to the Atlanta Hawks, small updates for them as well. I thought for sure that DeAndre Hunter would get an update. No update for him, which is kind of disappointing, to be honest. Clint Capela drops 3 overall to an 81. No change for Trae Young or DeJounte Murray. I thought each could go up 1 overall, but no change for them at all. Aaron Holiday goes -1 to a 74 overall. I thought they could clean up the ratings at least. Get Justin Holiday up, get AJ Griffin up, drop Kaminsky, things like that. But maybe 2K's waiting till the next update, since it's only really been 2 weeks. We'll see. Maybe they're just being conservative. The Miami Heat, they get some drops. Pretty much nobody went up for them. Everybody went down. Bam Adebayo -1 to an 86 overall. Kyle Lowry -1 to an 81. Caleb Martin -1 to a 75. Dwayne Dedman -1 to a 74. And then Gabe Vincent also -1 to a 74. So no other updates for the Miami Heat. I haven't checked, Kerry. I haven't checked for Ron Artest. I'm going to guess probably not, but we'll double check it anyway in a few minutes. I'll have to look at the coach changes as well, Toby. I haven't had a chance to dive into that yet. I will get to it in just a minute because the only coach change that would happen would be Brooklyn. Although Brooklyn hasn't officially announced Ime Udoka, so I wonder if they're going to wait to put that in officially. Maybe Jacques Vaughn goes in and Steve Nash gets pulled out. We'll see. I'll check in a minute. The Charlotte Hornets. So Gordon Hayward doesn't go up. I was shocked about that. I thought for sure, Hayward would go up. I thought PJ Washington would go up. Surprisingly, Kelly Oubre goes down 1 to a 78. Mason Plumlee goes +1 to a 76. +3 for Nick Richards. That was well overdue. Jalen McDaniels also goes +3 to a 76. That was overdue. Dennis Smith Jr. playing well so far this year, +1 to a 76. And then lastly, JT Thor gets a position change to power forward, and that drops him 1 overall to a 69 overall. I thought for sure, like I said, Washington and Hayward would go down or go up, but they didn't, unfortunately. Utah Jazz, Lauri Markkanen, +4 to an 82 overall, -1 for Mike Conley, 81 overall. Position change for Colin Sexton to point guard, shooting guard. We've got Malik Beasley, +1 to a 76 overall. I thought Jordan Clarkson should go up as well, at least to like a 79, but he didn't get changed at all. Walker Kessler, one of the biggest movers in this update, +5 to a 76 overall. And then we've got some position changes. Nickeil Alexander-Walker to point guard, shooting guard. Simone Feticio goes to power forward, small forward. And then Leandro Bolmaro, small forward, shooting guard. Interesting also, there's position changes, or height and weight changes in this update. Like the Jazz get height updates. The Grizzlies previously got one. The Sacramento Kings get an update with heights. Like Keon Ellis goes -3 in height. Alex Len +2. Rashawn Holmes -2. Like I'll post Operation Sports Forum post that highlights all of the changes to the roster update, including the height update, so everybody can see what's going on. But for the Sacramento Kings, KZ Okpala gets moved to small forward, power forward. We get -1 for Rashawn Holmes to a 74. We also see, surprisingly, no update to Keegan Murray. I thought he can go +1 at least. No update for Davion Mitchell, even though he struggled before his last breakout game. Harrison Barnes does go -2 to a 78 overall. He's really been struggling this year. Kevin Huerter, well-deserved update, +3 to a 79 overall. Domantas Sabonis, -2 to a 84. And then De'Aaron Fox, now the best player on the team, at an 85 overall, +1. The New York Knicks, I thought that, we'd see a little bit more, kind of ratings updates and stuff like that for them. Like, I thought Randall maybe would go up 1 and Brunson up 1, Barrett down 1, like to get all three of these guys kind of in line with each other, but no update there. Obi Toppin +2 to a 78 overall, well deserved. Emmanuel Quickley, -1 to a 76 overall. Isaiah Hartenstein +1 to a 75 overall. Evan Fournier -1 to a 75 overall. Like I said, not a ton of changes there for the Knicks. I thought that Hartenstein could go up 1 more even. And then maybe Reddish could go up as well. The Lakers, they still will not change LeBron James' position to power forward. I guess that's because it drops his overall -1. But look who goes down again. 2K cannot stand Russell Westbrook. Like, it's evident. Like, he drops down -1 again to a 77. -1, 77 overall for Patrick Beverley. I've given feedback about tendencies. We'll see what happens. No update for Lonnie Walker IV. Boggled my mind when I saw this that he was not updated. He should at least be a 76, 77 based on his play. He's like the third best player on the team so far this year. We do get a drop for Damian Jones, -1 to a 72. The hero of the night last night, Matt Ryan, +3 to a 71 overall. Hit that corner 3 over Herb Jones, I believe it was. And then the Lakers end up taking the win in overtime. The Orlando Magic, position update for Caleb Houston to shooting guard small forward. Kevon Harris gets a bump, +2 to a 69 overall. RJ Hampton +1 to a 73 overall. Shuma Okeke -2 to a 73 overall. He got a position change to power forward, small forward as well. Mo Bamba drops -4. He's really been struggling this year, 75 overall. Bol Bol +5 for Bol Bol to a 76 overall. Really been playing well. I thought he should be switched to small forward, but 2K left him alone. Excuse me. We've got Wendell Carter Jr. surprisingly go -2 to an 81. I don't think he's been playing all that bad this season, but apparently 2K thought to drop him. Paolo Banchero, one of the biggest movers in this roster update, +5 to an 83 overall. Banchero's really been hooping so far this year, so well deserved there. Dallas Mavericks +1 for Luka Doncic. Dorian Finney-Smith drops -1. Tim Hardaway Jr. swaps positions to small forward shooting guard. -1 for JaVale McGee to a 76 overall. Josh Green +1 to a 74 overall. His position was also updated to shooting guard, small forward. So he kind of swapped with Tim Hardaway Jr. So good to see that. We got nothing else for the Dallas Mavericks. Kind of thin update for them. Going over to the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant gets a position update to power forward, small forward. No update to Kyrie Irving. I guess because he struggled last game, they decided not to update him. But who did get updated, -3 to an 80 overall, has been Simmons. TJ Warren gets position update to power forward, small forward. We see Royce O'Neal, who swapped with Kevin Durant. Royce O'Neal now the small forward, shooting guard. Patty Mills, +2 to a 74 overall. Position was also updated to point guard. Cam Thomas gets an update to his position, swapped to shooting guard, small forward. David Duke Jr. Swapped to small forward, shooting guard, and then Alondas Williams updated to point guard, shooting guard. So we'll see if Brooklyn goes down anymore once we get into the season a little more. If they keep kind of struggling. Looking at the Denver Nuggets position update for Peyton Watson, who's now a shooting guard, small forward. Devon Reed's a small forward, shooting guard. No update for Christian Brown. I don't understand why Brown. It is Brown. He confirmed it's not Braun. It's Brown. Why Brown was not updated to at least like a 73. So he'd play over Devon Reed since he's in the rotation. Zeke Nnaji goes -1 to a 75 overall. We've also got Michael Porter Jr. going +2 to an 82 overall. And then the biggest mover on the team, -3 to an 81 overall, is Jamal Murray. Next is the Indiana Pacers. Ty Halliburton +2 to an 86. Another big mover, Benedict Mathurin +5 to an 80 overall, +1 for Buddy Hield, -1 for Chris Duarte to a 76. Andrew Nembhard is now a 72 overall, +2. Aaron Nesmith and Kendall Brown swap positions. Nesmith now the shooting guard, Brown the small forward on the roster. Next we have the New Orleans Pelicans. We've got Jose Alvarado going -1. Didn't really understand that one. I'll have to look into what changed. Najee Marshall gets a position update to shooting guard, small forward. He's been starting with guys out with injuries, specifically Brandon Ingram. He also goes +3 to a 76. I thought Larry Nance could go up a little bit more. Herb Jones could go up, a point or two, with Jackson Hayes kind of going down, but I guess 2K decided differently. Next thing is we've got Trey Murphy III going +1 to a 79 overall. Really embracing that six-man role so far this year. Next is the Detroit Pistons. We've got Jaden Ivey, 78 overall, +2. 82 overall, +2 for Bojan Bogdanovic. Isaiah Stewart, +2 to a 78. And then we've got Jalen Duren, +2 to a 75. Position change for Hamidou Diallo to small forward shooting guard. Goes -2 to a 74. Position change for Corey Joseph to a 72. Or shooting guard, point guard. Then he goes -1 to a 72. Isaiah Livers, position update to power forward, shooting guard. No update for Killian Hayes or any of the bench players that they really never touch. Toronto Raptors, Christian Koloko goes +1 to a 71 overall. Delano Banton goes +2 to a 74 overall. We've got, let's see, I missed him. Ken Burks to -1, 74. 75, -1 for Precious Achua. 79 overall, +1 for Gary Trent Jr. Scotty Barnes is +185. And then Pascal Siakam, +2 to an 86 overall. He's been really playing well this year. Houston Rockets, position change. Tari Eason changed to power forward, small forward. He also gets a update of +4 overall to a 76. Kevin Porter Jr. goes +1 to a 78 overall. Alperen Sengun goes +1 to 79 overall. Now they adjust ratings, not just intangibles. So you'll have to look through. I can look through in a little bit as well and see specifically what changed. Usman Garuba goes +1 to a 74 as well. Next up, we have the San Antonio Spurs. Blake Wesley gets a position change to point guard, shooting guard. Romeo Langford gets an update to shooting guard, small forward. Romeo Langford gets a update to shooting guard, small forward. Jeremy Sojin goes surprisingly -1 to a 72 overall. I didn't really understand that one, but Trey Jones doesn't get an update. Doug McDermott goes +1 to a 75. Zach Collins +1 to a 75. Position update for Josh Richardson to shooting guard, small forward, plus a +1 overall to a 77. Didn't understand why Isaiah Roby didn't get dropped. He hasn't really played much so far. Devin Vassell goes +3 to a 79 overall, well deserved. +2 overall for Keldon Johnson to an 84 overall. Looking at the Phoenix Suns, Chris Paul goes -1 to an 89. We've got Mikal Bridges to an 84 overall, +1. +1 for Landry Shamet to a 74. +3 for Jock Landale to a 73. Position update for Josh Okogie, 70. Small forward, power forward for him. Oklahoma City Thunder. Update to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, +2 to an 89 overall. Kenrich Williams gets his position updated to power forward, small forward. Darius Baisley gets updated to center, power forward, -1. Trey Mann somehow goes -1 to a 74, but his position's updated to point guard, shooting guard. I thought he could stay at a 75. And last but not least, Lindy Waters goes +2 to a 73 overall, position updated to small forward, shooting guard. I thought Jalen Williams maybe could get a bump, +1. Eugene Marui should go to a 70 or 71. We should have seen Aaron Wiggins go up. You know, those kind of guys help the overall team go up. Minnesota Timberwolves -2 for Karl-Anthony Towns to an 87. I thought Anthony Edwards could have gone down 1 or 2, but he stays at a 76. We've got Jaden McDaniels, 77 +2 overall. Jalen Noel goes +1 to a 76 overall. -2 to 75 for Naz Reid. -1 for Jordan McLaughlin. No other changes for Minnesota. Moving over to Portland, we've got Shaedon Sharpe +2 to a 74. Gary Payton Jr., or the second, I should say, gets a +2 overall to a 74. Or position change. I'm sorry, he didn't have an update. He has where'd he go? Position update to point guard, shooting guard. And then last but not least, well, there's two things. Anthony Simons somehow did not get an update. If you look at Anthony Simons, his intangibles is a 95, but look at his stamina, 79. How in the world is he going to be able to stay on the court with a 79 stamina? 2K's definitely got to update that for sure. But the last update, ratings-wise for them, Damian Lillard goes +1 to a 90 overall. Yeah, I don't get it. 4 badges for Anthony Simons. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, he's one of the ones that should have went up last year, and he would have been on par for this year. So, Yeah. Hey, John, what's going on, man? Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. Golden State Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga goes -2 to a 76. Somehow James Wiseman goes +1 to 76, but they don't touch Kevon Looney. Don't get that one. They still have an injured Andre Iguodala, even though he hasn't played this year. -1 to a 75 for JaMychal Green. Ty Jerome gets a position update to shooting guard, point guard, no rating change. Ryan Rollins, no rating change, but his position was updated to point guard, shooting guard. I thought Clay would have gone down. Let's see if he gets any. Um, yeah, Jesus. Um, Still no update to the defense. Um, hmm, yeah, like lateral quickness 87 for Clay. Like, come on, we not touching these. Like Draymond Green, we're not touching his defense. He slipped a little bit. I don't know. Um, is what it is. Yeah, John, you know what gets updated individually and what doesn't. So I'll be curious if you dive into on your channel if you dive into the individual ratings updates and stuff like that. Like that's where the attribute updates like you have them all categorized and stuff and do really well with that. So I'll be curious to see what's changed or if it's just like intangibles and stuff like that. We'll see. Last team, Washington Wizards. Um, Surprisingly, I would have thought Monte Morris maybe went down a tick just because he's been splitting playing time with other guards. It was DeLon Wright till he got hurt, but now we're getting Denny Advia playing the backup kind of point guard, ball handler role there. What kind of blew my mind is Johnny Davis has really been bad, and they don't touch him. Vernon Carey is still a 73, and he barely does anything on the court. Like, those are the kind of things that really can change an overall team. Like, Anthony Gill has played. Like, Anthony Gill should be over both of these guys. Like, there's no reason Johnny Davis and Vernon Carey should be higher than Anthony Gill if Anthony Gill's in the rotation and playing. Like, yes, Anthony Gill does nothing special, but the fact that the other two are not good and still rated higher is a flaw in the 2K rating system. Jordan Goodwin gets an update to his shooting guard, um, or gets an update to shooting guard, point guard from point guard, shooting guard. Yeah, that's what I don't get. Like, he doesn't get a rating update, and he's a starting small forward. And you could have changed his position to small forward to have it in line, you know, better. Kuzma doesn't get an update. Like, how do you not update Kyle Kuzma? He's been playing well. Daniel Gafford does go down -1 to a 76. Will Barton also drops -1 to a 76. And then the before mentioned Denny Advia goes -1 to a 75. Man, I just don't get it. Like Porzingis could have went up one, I think. Like I wouldn't have been mad if he went up one, but lighter update for sure. With the ratings overall, like I mean, there were some guys that they couldn't have missed on, like Bankero, um, guys like that had to go up. Obviously, Laurie Markkinen, another one that was a big mover, Desmond Bain, as well. So, you know, it is what it is. Um, I'll be curious to see once John, once you dive into the individual attributes, like kind of what's been changed. For everybody that doesn't follow Real 2K rosters, the Real 2K Insider, um, he has his own roster. He's now on PS5. Also has his own YouTube channel. He does ratings content and stuff there. Um, Not sure, John, if you're going to do a video, but if you are, definitely I'll tune into that and I'll retweet it and stuff like that. So, overall, like, I mean, the update's okay. Let me look at Brooklyn. Let's see what they did. They did okay. So they added Jacques Vaughn as the interim. So Steve Nash is not on the roster anymore. Yeah, they're not going to have Nash because they usually take once you're not a coach anymore, they take him out because they don't have the rights. for them underneath the coaching stuff. So, yeah, so I'll be curious once Ime Udoka, if he does in fact get hired, how long it takes them to update that. But for now, Jacques Vaughn is in there. Um, but yeah, like I'm curious on like why Lonnie Walker didn't get an update. He's been playing well, third best player on that team, but then you decide to drop Westbrook. So it means you looked at the ratings for the Lakers, but then you didn't touch Lonnie Walker. I don't get it, but to each their own. I thought Keegan Murray could go up, like I said earlier. Just going to go through some missed ones, like Hayward and Washington should have went up. Personally, I thought DeAndre Hunter should have went up. Tyus Jones should have went up. You could have made a case for Zubac to go up as well. Kennard definitely should have not went down. I thought that Blake Griffin could have dropped in into the lower tier since he doesn't play. Sam Hauser could have went up a tick or two. Jetty Osman could have went up one personally, but that's just me. Like I said, I talked about the Bucks updates or whatever already. Daniel House could have went up one, at least a man in line with ratings there. It's kind of sometimes, puzzling some of the ratings. Last night's games definitely were not factored in. John, you and I both know that they don't update. Like once the games are going, they don't really update those at all. Like that I've seen, at least in the past couple years, they haven't. I don't think anything's changed there. But overall, you could have looked at Denver, Christian Brown could have went up definitely. Could have seen, looking at the Pacers, like O'Shea Brissett should not be higher than Terry Taylor. And Andrew Nembhard has been playing well. Like he should have this, 74 range rating, 73, 74, and then Brissett down at 72 since he doesn't play. No updates, really for Jalen Smith, who I thought could have went up a point. But at least they got Mathurin in for updates. Halliburton got an update or whatever. The Pelicans, I wasn't going to be shocked if I saw like Zion go up or whatever, but they didn't update him. No update for Larry Nance. I thought he should at least be like a 77, 78. The Detroit Pistons, I don't know when we'll ever see an update for Killian Hayes. He's not been updated since literally he's been added to the game. Has never received an update that I'm aware of. John, you may be able to tell me wrong, but I don't think Killian Hayes has ever been updated across the board. Isaiah Livers has been playing okay. He could have went up one. That's just me. I don't know how Precious Achiuwa with his rebounding numbers went down in overall, but it is what it is. OG Anunoby could have went up. I want to make note of something. So when I was looking through the individual ratings for Gary Trent Jr., anybody that knows basketball, and watches considerably enough basketball and has watched the Raptors, who in the hell would look at defensive consistency and give Gary Trent Jr. a 35, Help D a 60, perimeter defense a 61, but then you give and that's troubling, but then you give Fred VanVleet's defense an 83? Wait, what? How? How do you give him an 80 consistency on defense and then Help D is a 79, but then we go over and he's one of the steal leaders this season so far in the NBA, and he's got a 70 for steals. And then you look at OG Anunoby, also, what's up, Big Willie? Also leading in steals, and he's got a 63. Wow, 30 players last season? That's crazy. If that's true, that's insane. you can't even justify that. Like 30 players edited for the season, that's insane. Like that shouldn't be. Um, Looking at the Rockets, like Jalen Green takes a lot of bad shots. I wouldn't mind seeing him bump down a little bit. Like I think an 82 is a little high for him. I thought that Kevin Porter Jr. has been playing well. Like he could have. I mean, he did go up, but maybe a tick more. They don't touch Josh Christopher, who's still a 75. Um, Even though he doesn't really play in the rotation, they don't touch Daishen Nix, who's in the rotation. They could have at least um, touched on them a little bit. Tari Easton at least got an update. At least they put him back to power forward. And then the Spurs, so you don't touch Jakob Poeltl. Like, how is he not an 80, 81, like somewhere in that range? Like, that's another player that never gets touched. It's a miracle if they touch him. Like, Isaiah Roby's still a 75. Like, he's not even in the rotation. Like, Trey Jones, 74, should be bumped up. Like, I just don't get it. Like, Phoenix Suns, like, Devin Booker, like, I guess he's okay at a 91. I mean, I guess, like, Phoenix, you wouldn't, like, bump up, but because of their record, like, you can bump guys up. Like, 2K has to look at team record and see kind of what's going on. Like, same with the Bucks. Like, you can, at least up guys one or two overalls, like, based on their individual performance, but it also helps the team performance grade. Like, Oklahoma City, I mean, they play a collage of guys and stuff like that. I'm, like, Eugene Amaruri, like, should be higher than a 68 since he was playing early in the season. Jalen Williams could have bumped up. Like, I mean, it's just funny how these things go. Like, Kyle Anderson's really been struggling. Touch the athleticism ratings once every 7 years. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't shock me. Kyle Anderson, 76, but then Jalen Newell, who's been playing really well, as a 76. That makes no sense. Taurean Prince hasn't been playing well. Like, 76, like, that's a little high. Like, Anthony Edwards has been struggling. He's still got a 95 dunk despite not dunking this year. Even came out in an interview and said that the lane is clogged and he can't get his dunk. He's not, Kevin Durant's height where he can just, or Giannis's height where he can dunk over people constantly. He needs a lane to get his dunk off. Like, at least bump him down a little bit. Like, I don't get it. Like, going back to Simons, like, there's no excuse for Simons not to be updated with correct stamina, and stuff like that. Like, 4 badges, come on now. Like, he's been really playing well. Justice Winslow, 0 badges for Justice Winslow. He's been playing well this season. Yes, he's a role player. He doesn't pop off the sheet, but you can at least add like 3-4 badges to him. Shaden Sharp, like, I mean, he went up, but at the end of the day, like, these are guys that they're probably going to pay attention to, whereas guys like Justice Winslow didn't. Now, there was badge updated, like Mathurin got updates to badges. I believe he got added, because he had 0. He got 3 badges added. I'm sure Banchero got added, like, to get him up. I'm sure... I'm sure Donovan Mitchell got updated badges, because it was hard to update him overall wise without touching badges when I was just playing around with updates. But John, you have a better grasp of individual updates and what, went through. Yeah, like the rookies, I would assume got badge updates, like stuff added to them. I'll check Dalen Terry. No update to him. Let's see. I don't think LaRavia would have. Roddy doesn't. Did Nick Richards get an update to badges? I'm not sure. I know he climbed to a 76, but wow, they upped Kessler without any badges. That's interesting. That means they Let's see if they overinflated the intangibles. Ding! Intangibles rating overinflated. 85, just to get them up. Okay. Okay. The shooting and the passing. Okay, makes sense. Markkinen only has 3 badges, but he's an 82. Wow. Nothing for Keegan Murray. It still boggles my mind that he didn't get an update. Right? So he gets a 76, but then they did update Jaden Ivey, who's 78, I believe. Yeah, 78. I guess. Whatever you want to do. Trey Murphy with only 2 badges, and he's been playing well. Yeah, it's interesting. Let's go over to any of the retro. I mean, yeah, but Keegan, like, he's been meh, but at least could have bumped him to a 77. Because if you look at, like, for me, and I think you're the same, John, like, anybody that's in the rotation needs to be higher than anybody that's, like, a backup. So if he's starting, at least put him at a 77, along with Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell, to me, should have dropped 1. And then Murray went up 1. Monk could have went up. Like, they didn't update him either. But then they leave Chimezie Metu, who's been struggling, at a 75. But, I mean, it's neither here nor there. Let's look at retro stuff. I highly doubt. I'm just looking through because I remember some of my notes. Let's see. Yeah, nothing retro-wise because they haven't touched anything. Doesn't look like. Yeah, Oliver Miller still has a generic face, despite giving the feedback 2 weeks ago when the patch dropped that his face was updated on current gen, but there's no update on next gen. Same for a bunch of other faces missing, which is interesting. Let's look at the all-time teams. See if they added Ron Artest. Absolutely not. No update to the retro stuff. Yeah, we'll see the retro stuff when we see it, I guess. But, you know, that's pretty much it for this roster update. You know, I guess you could say biggest movers overall. Like Donovan Mitchell was the biggest name, like superstar that went up. As far as changes, Walker Kessler went +5. Do you have the other error ratings? What do you mean, John, as far as the other error ratings? So +5 for Hypnos, what's going on? +5 for Walker Kessler. Like Nazi Marshall, +3. Dean Wade, biggest mover. Paolo Banchero. I'll cry if they update the ratings for all 4 eras. I doubt it if they would update any of the ratings for the eras because that's a separate dev that's working on that. The dev that's been happy, let's just put it this way, the dev that's been happy about the era stuff going on in interviews, I believe, is the one that's overseeing the era stuff. So maybe we'll see updates once he gets a chance to update it. I'm not seeing anything new. Okay. Interesting. Raja Bell gets a updated cyberface. Interesting. Okay. So Raja Bell gets his updated face. Nice. That's a definite lot better looking Raja Bell. He's got tattoos on his arm as well. Interesting. So, what else? Just looking through. See if I notice anybody that got added in. Not really. Just looking through, just bear with me. Let's see. No updates. Yeah, I'm just looking to see if they added any players or anything. Doesn't look like anything's. Do I know who the dev is for the error ratings? I am not sure. I have an idea of who it is, but I don't want to publicly say because unless I'm 100% factual, I try not to disclose that information. So I have a 99.9% sneaking suspicion of who it is, but I'm not going to divulge who it is. Let's just say he's not the ratings dev for the current stuff. Let's put it that way. I do know that. I'll say that. Yeah, nothing John ratings wise that I see at least. Let's look at the other eras. It's interesting. So if they added that, no, it's not Stauffer. If they added Raja Bell there, did I miss him on the classic rosters? No. On the classic rosters, he has the old face. That's hilarious. They can't even update that right. God. Okay. That would mean the same goes for this one. Yep, not updated. Still the old Jin face. It's not even worth my time going through that. Apparently they just don't care. Yeah, the classic teams. Different dev for that one too. I know the dev that works on the tendencies for the classic teams and stuff like that, and it's different than the person that works on the tendencies for the era stuff. So, yeah, take that, for what you will, but is what it is. Let's see. Just looking through, see if I see anybody that's missing that was added. Gary Grant still didn't get his update. I don't get it either. Doesn't make sense to me either. But here we are in 2022, and there's no this is my opinion. If 2K was going to add add bi-weekly updates for the current rosters, they should do like they did back in the day where the 2K side, the 2K Insider had like the little page, and you could type in like your feedback of like, hey, so and so should go up or down, da 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 da. And then that's taken into consideration. Like if they're going to release an update on Thursday, then Monday they should have a post out that says, hey, who should go up or down? What attributes would you like to see changed? Then they can kind of do a consensus feedback. Same with the era stuff. Like if multiple people are saying, hey, these rosters need touch up because they're missing faces for different players, or you dropped a patch with X amount of players updated and they're not put into the roster updates, that should tell you that you need to be doing your job, in the sense that why is the patch notes updated with players that don't even exist in the roster, or faces that aren't even going to be added to the era stuff or the classic rosters? Like nobody talks to anybody, and that's the problem. There's no coordination across departments of, hey, we're releasing this on X day. Let's go ahead and coordinate together and have everything in, triple check our work, and then release it. Doesn't happen. Just looking through, it doesn't. I mean, I'm not seeing anything as far as an update a major update. Like Terry Mills still didn't get in a face, even though he has the face on current gen. Um, Same, I'm gonna guess with Winston. Yep, Winston Garland, no update. Um, he has a face um, that was updated in current gen as well. Still don't see it here. Um, just looking through. Interesting enough, um, let's see. Okay, Buck Johnson's updated. Yeah, there's no players added to the roster that I can tell right off the bat. And then in the patch notes, they had like Scott Brooks got an update. He didn't get updated. Just looking. They still have this incorrect. Mitch Richmond was traded on the first night of the season before the game started to the Kings for Billy Owens and Les Jespen, but they won't update that. So it beats me on why that is, but still no Mike Fratello as coach, even though he was the coach there. Let's look at the. Oh, wait, that was the 91 roster, wasn't it? So that wouldn't have applied. Never mind, scratch that for that one. He was the 83. Wait, they used the wrong year for the TMC Warriors. No, so John, what it is they had the Warriors the 90-91 in the classic teams, then the 91-92 for the uh uh the era roster, and then Richmond got traded November 1st, 91 for Billy Owens and Les Jespen, and that was before the first game. Neither one played until the third game of the season, and they have Richmond incorrectly on the Warriors instead of having him traded to the Kings. Let me go back to something. I just want to look at something real quick for the O2 roster. Let's look and see if they updated the coaches. Okay, John Lucas gets added. He's updated here for the Cavaliers. So they did update some stuff for the eras. So John Lucas is added correctly there. Yeah, we we both know the dev whose creative decision that was. Sidney Lowe gets added to the Grizzlies. They didn't add Alvin Gentry to the Clippers. Interesting. Let's see if any other coaches get added. They had Isaiah Thomas already. That Doug Collins kills me with the old with the 80s hair. That means I'm gonna have to look at the 91 teams again just to check. At least they made some progress, I guess. Slowly but surely for the coaches. Casey Jones with a generic face. Okay. All right, let's go to the Magic Bird era. Let's see if anything changed there. So far, no. Let me see something. Just look at the free agent pool. They still got Mike Dunleavy there. Eddie Jordan. See something. Just trying to check something real quick. Nope. Okay. Actually, he'd be in 91. I need to go back to 91 in a minute and look. Yeah, I don't see anything for. Did they take off? Dang, they still got George Johnson wrong. This is the Indiana Pacers George Johnson. This is not George Johnson that played for the. Well, he sat out this year in a contract dispute, so technically he shouldn't even be on the roster. But that is not the correct one. Just looking through. I'm not seeing anybody that's off. See, there's the George Johnson. That should be. That's correct. They have John Long's face here, but they didn't put it in the classic roster. So they looks like they didn't update anything on the historic classic rosters. They just updated the Miami era stuff. I'm going to dive into the draft classes next and see if they updated anybody there. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything update-wise. Okay, let's look at the coaches. I would not be shocked if they scrap the classics at all either, John. Like, I was thinking that because they're like they're losing player rights. Like take for example like the Grizzlies, right? They lost Marc Gasol. They'll lose if Ed Davis doesn't sign with the team. They'll lose Ed Davis next year. Like they don't have anybody really on that Grizzlies team per se, so that team will have to get removed. Like you could revamp that particular area if they wanted. Like they could add that 07-08 Hornets team in. You could revamp that Hawks 85-86 team to like 87-88. Like you could use the classics and just revamp the years a little bit, like change them up for some of the teams. 71-72 Lakers instead of the 70-71 Lakers, 72-73 Knicks. Like teams like that. Add in the 82-83 Sixers if you wanted. Like they had the 84 team in before. Obviously Barkley's not there, so that changes it. They did add oh my god. Oh my goodness. So you add Mike Fratello in. That's not Mike Fratello. We can add his name in, but that's not what he looks like. How do you get that wrong? He's on the 85-86 Hawks with the correct ID. Oh my god. Generic ID for Casey Jones. Man, I don't know. I mean, they went to the finals, the 76-77 team, so yeah, he is a commentator in the game. Let's look at. I'm gonna pull up draft class stuff just to get a better idea, so I'm not hunting all over the place of stuff. Let's see. I'm gonna start with because a lot of people asked about Cincy Powell being added because he was in the patch notes. He is not added. You know what? A quick way for me to check the draft class is just go to the 99 draft class and see if they added under Karolinko, which they did not. Yeah, they didn't update the draft classes. That's a shame. So yeah, that's it for the roster update. Take it for what you will, whether it was positive, negative. Um, I mean, there's some stuff that definitely needs to be changed. Let me check some other stuff. I'm already on the stream, so I don't have to do another one. Let me look at some other odds and end feedback since I'm already into the era stuff. Let's see if they updated Mark Aguirre's age. Nope, Mark Aguirre is still incorrectly 21. See if Carl Herrera. Nope, Carl Herrera's college was not updated to Houston. Yep, so that's the 91-92. Let's look at 2002, 2003. Oops. Let's see. So Hakeem Olajuwon retired like 2 games into the season, or 1 game into the season, whatever. Like, he shouldn't be there, personally. But also, for the Atlanta Hawks, DeMar Johnson didn't play that season. He had broken his neck in a car accident. He should be in the free agent pool because you can't even get proper rosters. If they added every single player to this roster correctly, you can't because they're missing Amal McCaskill, Matt Maloney, Chris Crawford, Emmanuel Davis, Ira Newell, and Allen Henderson. That would give them 16 players with DeMar Johnson, and he should definitely be taken off of the roster and put in the free agent pool so he could sign because he signed with the Knicks then next season. Let's look at the Jazz. Andy Toulson. Let's see if they took him off. Nope. Andy Toulson was overseas that season. He came back in 95, 96. So he should be in the free agent pool. John Hotplate Williams. I doubt if they did anything else they would have added him. Nope. He's not added. So yeah, they really just like didn't do a lot of like transactional stuff for the eras stuff. So let's look at a lot of people complained about this Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Let's look at Scottie Pippen. No, Hot Plate. Hot Rod was the John Williams that was on Cleveland. Hot Plate was the overweight small forward that played for the Bullets and the Clippers. He would have been suspended for that Bullets team that year, and he came back the next offseason, and then they traded him to the Clippers actually. And so it was Hot Plate. That's his nickname, which is interesting. A lot of people I don't know that knew that his name is Hot Plate. Hot Plate probably because he ate a lot. He was overweight. Maybe I don't know exactly why he got that nickname, but anyway, let's look at Clyde Drexler. Yeah, Drexler has the older hair. Change really could be here that see how he has the hair now, like versus the other hair. So like the fading hair versus more hair is kind of what uh, what they would want to update for that or whatever. Let's look at Magic. Oh, actually, Magic is right on that one. So long story short, for the era's coaches, I want to touch on those. So they did add Sidney Lowe. They added John Lucas. They added Mike Fratello, even though his ID is wrong. And then they missed Alvin Gentry for the 0203 Clippers. And they did not update K.C. Jones's face properly for the 83-84 team as well. So interesting note to take what you want, but they didn't end up editing anything for the classic stuff. So um, let me look at a couple more players because I have the list of face updates that were missing from the patch that should have been added into the roster. Um, Tracy Murray. Nope. Tracy Murray didn't get an update, but Rajah Bell did. Winston Garland, Terry Mills, Gary Grant, and George Johnson did not get an update. Rajah Bell somehow was the only one out of the list to get an update. Also missing Oliver Miller and John Long for the classic teams as well. So, um, interesting update, I guess. First update of the year. Um, dove deep into it, dove into the Miami era stuff that changed. Please, if you haven't already, hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do. I've got some feedback notes to type out and add because I saw a couple things that are wrong as far as the roster goes. Let me look at one other thing. Let me look at the modern rosters. I want to see if Bojan Bogdanovic got his extension added in. They did. Okay, they added the extension in. Missing out of the update, and it's probably because it was late in the day yesterday. Jordan Hall is not on the San Antonio Spurs, but he is in the free agent pool. He was previously on a two-way contract with the Spurs, so they had him in the game, but he's missing from the roster. They'll probably add him tomorrow, I assume. They did add injury designations for AJ Green, and I believe Blake Wesley got one. Yeah, Blake Wesley got one because he's out 6 to 8 weeks with the torn MCL. So that's all the notes for today. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Like I said, please, if you can, like the video and then subscribe if you haven't. Try to do more content. I'll try to do a around the NBA tomorrow. I have some free time in the morning, so want to get that knocked out. Get back to those daily updates once my normal schedule dies down in the mornings. I'll have more time to do those as often as I can. Of course, if there's any significant updates to the roster, I will do an update. If it's just like injury designations, I'm not doing an update for those. But if player transactions or anything of that sort is updated, of course, any of the retro content's updated. I will get to that. Speaking of that, Kevin Young, I don't know when they're going to add Artest or Ruben Patterson. John, I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to be as informative as I can. I wish I had all the rating stuff as well as you do, because then I could have dove into individual ratings. But I'm going to leave that stream to you because that's what you do best is the individual ratings and know what goes up and goes down and go from there. So thanks everybody for watching. Like I said, please like and subscribe. I'll post a Operation Sports written post that will have the written out ratings changes and position changes, the height and weight changes for some of the teams that got updated as well today. So I'll have all that in a post there so you can see it in written form. As always, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.